Welcome back. As our post-debate coverage continues, we focus on climate and its impact on this week's debate. Now, most candidates would not directly address the question of whether they believed in man-made climate change. Helping me break that down today, Robert Kraig. He's the Executive Director of Citizen Action of Wisconsin. Robert, welcome to For the Record.
Great to be with you.
So you watched the debate, Robert. What was kind of your kickback reaction to the candidates, most of them kind of refusing to address that question head on of, do you believe in man-made climate change?
It was amazing. It was hard to get a show of hands. I only counted two that admit that it's human-made, which is scientifically certain. And it's very disturbing as far as the leadership we need, because climate change is very manageable within our means and could create great prosperity and greater equity if we do what we need to do. But if we have a lot of folks who refuse to lead and in fact do the bidding of the big fossil fuel interests, then it's going to be a much more difficult challenge, and the consequences could be dire.
Why do you think it's such a difference for Republican candidates to answer the question of man-made climate change versus perhaps naturally occurring climate change?
Well, it is actually an anomaly in that in the other advanced democracies and in wealthy countries, the conservative parties are not climate denying. So they're a real outlier, unfortunately, and it's dangerous. So this party is very much in hock to the fossil fuel industry that had decided in the 80s, after 30 years or 20 years of thinking this was an issue and studying how to adapt, just to lie about it. And so you saw all sorts of ducking and weaving. You saw some people who said it was a hoax, like Vivek Ramaswamy. And he said the others were bought and paid for. He sounded the most bought and paid for on climate, quite frankly. And others trying to, even Nikki Haley, who conceded there was human-made climate change, she started blaming China and India, where that doesn't take away our responsibility. Plus, the United States has produced the most carbon dioxide in the atmosphere of any country by far, and continues to do so more than China or India per capita. So we not only have a moral obligation, it's to our benefit, and we can create great prosperity with it if we'll just do what's necessary and we'll acknowledge the science and then move forward.
You know, this is a unique topic in Wisconsin specifically. Now, Wisconsin, particularly northern Wisconsin, is heavily Republican. We're a very purple state, but at the same time, Wisconsin is home to beautiful forests, lakes, and you will find that even among conservatives in, say, northern Wisconsin, there's still a value for maintaining our lands. What do you think as a group, you know, leading a group that is heavily into advocacy for climate in Wisconsin, how do you think that message plays in even Republican areas of Wisconsin?
And we have members in the North Woods, and you're absolutely right. Wisconsin has such a land ethic that I'm going to go hike in the North Woods this next week, and the Republican folks up there love the land, love to live up there, right? And so there is this dichotomy. There's a difference between our political system right now, where people follow their side. It's set up by team, and you have this drumbeat on the right among Republicans that we should avoid climate change altogether, deny it, what have you. But that is inconsistent with actual polling. And there's really good research from University of Wisconsin-Madison showing climate change is actually the top issue for Wisconsinites once you ask a lot deeper questions. And it was reflected in the debate to the extent that Fox News actually asked the question, and it came from a young voter, because there's a huge generation gap between younger conservatives and the older generation that is producing most of the people on that stage.
Absolutely. Robert, I've asked you a bunch of questions. Is there anything that you think I've missed or that you'd like to add to this?
I just think it's really important that we have this climate challenge. It's clear this summer, very clear, and quite frankly, it's very manageable. It's within our means, but we have to actually cut emissions nearly in half in the next 7 years. But by doing so, we could create a lot of jobs. Automation is taking away and will take away a lot more jobs. And these are jobs for the people who lost manufacturing jobs that don't require a college education. And so there's a huge opportunity here, and it's very manageable. There's going to be a certain amount of global warming built in. We've seen it now, but it doesn't have to be catastrophic. And so I think people of all parties need to insist that their leaders take it seriously. And there's no reason Republicans can't seriously address climate change, but it's disturbing what we saw in Milwaukee on Wednesday and the outright denial or the avoidance or the blame someone else for the challenge that's in front of us.
Robert, thank you so much for joining the show and sharing your insight.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here.
We will be right back.